Take a look at this Heimdallr watch here. If you can't tell, this is a Seiko SKX 007 Homage. I'm gonna leave the exact reference number of this one in the description. I recently purchased this watch and I had just enough experience to do a full review now with it. So I'm gonna share my the specs of the watch and then my thoughts and experience with it. Then at the end, I'll tell you guys if I think it's worth it. So let's quickly get to the dimensions of the watch here. We have a 42 millimeter case size on the nose. We have a thickness here of 13.5 millimeters. The lug to lug is only 45.8 millimeters, but to the male end links here, you're still at 50.7 millimeters. So still under, even all the way to the male end links. 22 millimeter lug width, and it tapers down to a 20 millimeter size. So nice taper on there. Inside you have the NH35 movement. So this does have hacking and hand winding. We do have a screw down crown here and a screw down case back. So this gives us 200 meters of water resistance. We see here the second hand stops for the NH35. Very nice winding action. Typical NH35 movement. We do have a ceramic bezel insert, 120 click bezel. Very great bezel action, very clicky, responsive, very easy to turn, very good grip here, very grippy. We'll get to the design of the bezel here in a bit. And it's actually great because this whole case and bracelet is titanium, so is the bezel. So even for a titanium watch, this is great bezel action. It goes back like half a click back play, but once it clicks into place, I mean, this thing is solid. You can play with it a little bit. I've had worse. I think for the price, the bezel action is acceptable. Actually, it's actually probably superb for the price. But back to the watch. This is, like I said, full titanium, so everything's brushed on here, as you can see. 3-link style bracelet, full titanium again. There is almost no wobble to it, just enough to make it comfortable. This does have a pin and collar system inside of it. Like I said, there's a screw down case back, screw down crown, solid end links. You do have a stamped clasp, which is acceptable for a titanium watch. Most titanium watches do have stamped clasp, just because it is very hard to mill it. So it's very nice click, very audible. It's very secure. You have the two little ears here that you can press and release, so it's very nice. 3 micro adjustments. I wish there was more, but it's forgivable just how thin it is. Everything on this watch is titanium, which is absolutely phenomenal. I said it was a SKX Homage just because the case itself and the bracelet, well, the bracelet isn't a Jubilee. The SKX 007 came with a Jubilee, but the case itself is directly a replica of the SKX case. Everything's exactly the same. 4 o'clock crown. This one does have every upgrade you can think of. Titanium case, sapphire crystal anti-reflective coating. You do have great superluminova all over the hands and indices there. NH35, so it comes with hacking and hand winding. I mean, this is basically an SKX on steroids in every shape, way, and form. The Lume is good. We'll get to that at the end. As you can tell, though, for all you Seiko fans, it is a SKX Homage, but the hands and the dial itself is from a Seiko Samurai. So there's a lot of real estate for all that lume, and the bezel insert is not lumed itself, but it is ceramic, like I said. So this thing just has all the bells and whistles that you can ask for. I got this one from AliExpress. You can pick these up for roughly around $180. Sometimes there is a sale and you can get them for cheaper. But let me show you what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist, just for reference. So there it is on the wrist, where it's basically just like an SKX. So if you guys have any experience with an SKX, It wears exactly the same, except this is a lot lighter. I do not have a scale, but I would not be surprised if this, for my 7-inch wrist size to it, I wouldn't be surprised if it weighs less than 120 grams. I mean, this thing just disappears on wrist. So the wearability is great. I do have to say that there is a little hot spot that I feel, or two. The first one is, I believe it is the etching on the case back. Since it says titanium and it is a, the finishing probably isn't as well done on here. So some of the edges are rough and I can feel them on the top of my wrist here. It's not like it's peeling away the skin or anything like that. It's more just annoying than anything, but I can feel something sometimes. So I just had to point that out. And another little hot spot that I feel is these edges here that are on the crown guards at the bottom. I feel like they could have sanded it down a little bit more on the edge, because it's a pretty 90-degree angle there. And what that does is when you're wearing the watch, it works comfortably if you're just wearing it, you know, with your hands down on the side. But once you start bending your wrist a little bit, I can feel it sometimes here digging into the top of my wrist. It's not a lot. It's not like it hurts. It's just more, it's more annoying than anything. But I do feel something that I have to point out to you guys. I wish Heimdallr would have maybe, like I said, sanded the bottom of the crown guards just a little bit at a more of a slope, or rounded them off at the bottom. And then the case back, what they should have done, I think, for an easier solution for them as well, is just kind of printed it or laser etched the printing on the back of the case back. That way they wouldn't have to engrave it and there's no actual edges. It would just be printed onto the case back. I think that would have worked well. It would have been smooth and great to the touch. Like I said, it's not a huge deal for me. I don't think it is a deal breaker. If you guys really need to, if yours comes with sharp edges as well at the bottom of the case crown guards, you guys could always kind of sand them down just a little bit, just to kind of make it, you know, less annoying. But it's not, it's just more, like I said, it's just more annoying than anything. It's kind of like one of those sweaters that have a little tag that kind of bothers you a little bit. It's not a big deal, but it can get annoying at times, just depending on how it wears or how your wrist swells, I guess. But for that price, I think this is a great watch. I've had this one. I don't know if Heimdallr regulates all their watches, but this one has been running around plus 3 to 4 seconds a day. And I've been wearing this consistently for over 2 weeks now. So, and as you can tell, the brushing is done great on this watch. It is consistent. Like I said, the brushing itself is great, but you will tell that there is a small difference between the direction of the case matching to the bracelet. So it will look like the case is a different color than the bracelet, but it's actually not. I think it's just the way that it's brushed. But the bezel is a little bit darker titanium than the case and the bracelet. As you can probably tell right there, they're all slightly different shades of gray at sometimes, but I think it's more of the brushing pattern. But it's all uniform. It's all nicely done. I like how the sapphire crystal has the blue AR coating underneath, and I like how it's flat, but there is a bevel that slopes down beneath the bezel. So it's a nice effect. Great watch. I will get to the Lume in a bit. The Lume is great. It's not as bright as Seiko as far as the longevity goes. Initially though, it is very bright. So well done. I think for 180 bucks, even if you get it for around $200, I think this is a great watch just because it has everything upgraded as far as an SKX goes compared to that. This is full titanium, like I said, bracelet, case back, crown. The clasp is all titanium. It's just very light feeling and very familiar, just because it is basically a replica of a Seiko SKX. just with an upgraded even dial and markers and handset, just because there is more real estate than even an SKX would have. So everything's upgraded. The dial itself, as you can see, and it's very obvious here, I have the black dial, but there is a pattern of waves, and they did do kind of that Seiko special edition, how they have the little there is like a little whales or sharks printed on here, but they're very hard to see, and you can only tell this pattern when you're out in direct sunlight. If you're anywhere in any type of darker environment or indoors, it just turns like a solid black dial. So just note that the pattern is there, but you probably won't see it very often, if at all, just because, like I said, it's mostly black. It turns like a shiny gray when you're in direct sunlight, but that really won't be what you see most of the time. One thing I do have to point out, I have worn this watch a lot. I tried it on different straps. If you use a quick link adjustment, just know that the spring bar is very close to the case, so you might have to smash the rubber. If you have a rubber strap or leather strap, you might have to push it all the way in and make it snap. If you have to kind of force it in, but they do fit. One thing you probably won't be able to fit on here is the NATO straps, in particular the thick NATO straps or the double pass ones. That's going to be very hard to fit, just because, like I said, the spring bars are very close to the case. So you're going to have to probably put the NATO on top of it and then put the spring bars down on it from on top. You won't be able to put the spring bars in and just pass it, weave it through. You're going to have to put the NATO on it and then put the spring bars on top of that to make sure that it locks. I didn't try that just because it was going to be a real pain in the ass. For me, it's not worth it. I'd rather just wear it on a rubber strap anyways. So just a heads up, that spring bar is very close to the case itself. So great watch. I think it is worth the money. I think people are gonna have a blast wearing this thing. This is a true beater watch, very toolish watch, something that you don't have to worry about, but is reliable with that Seiko NH35 movement, and features amazing specs for the price. Even if it was double, this offers amazing price, great good lume, great bezel action. So let me show you guys what I've been talking about. The lume, like I said initially, it is bright. It does last pretty much all night. It is on par with any more expensive watches that you will find. It's just not as bright as either Lume Bright or anything from Citizen and the longevity but everything else, it is bright. As you can see, it's already glowing, and I haven't even turned off the lights. I'm gonna turn off the lights here. There you go. Initially it's all bright. You're gonna read this all night. Like I said, it just will die before the lume won't last as long as a actual Seiko. But yeah, it's a great watch. If you guys are interested in this, go pick one up in AliExpress. I think it's going to be worth your time, especially for a beater watch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll catch you guys on the next one.